Some people want me to be heads or tails.
Hello, and welcome back to this midweek edition of Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I'm coming at you from the 256. Don't forget, if you do enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. But today, we're going to start with some NFL news, including Jalen Ramsey's assessment of all the quarterbacks in the NFL. Then we will take a look at Ronald Acuna Jr. because he's still making history. Yesterday, last night. We'll see if he continues today. And then Major League Baseball, some of the stuff that happened last night. But let's start with the NFL. First, some injuries. Ben Roethlisberger, as I mentioned yesterday, he is in concussion protocol now after sustaining a hit to the head early in yesterday's practice. He got up on his own power, talked to teammates, trainers, but then they eventually did walk him out, and then he left the facility. That's really all that there is to be said about that right now. He's being assessed further, and obviously, like I said, in the concussion protocol. Seahawks rookie running back Rashad Penny, he will undergo surgery to fix a broken finger that he sustained on Monday. But he is expected to be back for Week 1. He is currently competing with Chris Carson to be the Seattle Seahawks starting running back this season. But Penny, he was the 27th overall pick in this past year's draft by the Seattle Seahawks, and he was drafted out of San Diego State University. But now we'll move on to Jalen Ramsey's assessment of the quarterbacks. It was an interview he did with GQ magazine, but this is what he said, and I'll just kind of say if I agree or not. But Josh Allen, his assessment was trash. Haven't seen enough to call him trash yet. He has barely played. Well, he played in one preseason game so far, so we'll see. Baker Mayfield, he says he gets how he was the top pick. Yeah, he looked good last week. We'll see. Lamar Jackson gonna be good. That's to be seen. His assessment of Joe Flacco was he sucks. He did go on a run, won a Super Bowl, became the highest paid player at that time, or highest quarterback at that time, but hasn't been good since he signed that contract. Not very good at all. Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't suck. Aaron Rodgers, the name speaks for itself. Tom Brady speaks for itself. Tyrod Taylor, underrated. I highly agree with that. Everybody said, oh, Browns got Tyrod Taylor. He was the starting quarterback for a team that went to the playoffs last year. He looked good in the preseason game last week. Tyrod Taylor, I do believe, is underrated. He said Marcus Mariota, good game manager at times. Mariota needs a bounce back year. But I do think he is a game manager. He's not a game breaker. He's not a game winner. He is not Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. Jimmy Garoppolo, he said he guesses that he's good, which I can agree with that one. Guess he's good. We saw him. He looked good in the games he played last year. So we'll really see how good Garoppolo is this season. Deshaun Watson said he's going to be a future MVP. I do believe he will compete for the most valuable player in the NFL. That's to be seen. Carson Wentz was having an MVP season. He said going to be an MVP. Was having an MVP type season last year until he got hurt. Unfortunately, Jared Goff, he said he's average to above average. Year 3, I guess we'll really see what we get out of Goff. He was terrible his rookie year, but he only played in a handful of games last year. He was good. Prescott, he said Dak Prescott, he's okay. Another thing, good rookie year, not so great sophomore year. Kirk Cousins, he said he's a winner. We'll really see how much of a winner he is this year. He's with a team that is Super Bowl caliber in the Minnesota Vikings, so we'll really see how good he is this year. Russell Wilson, he just said he's good. Russell Wilson was running for his life every week last year, and was still making plays. Was still carrying that football team. So he's a little bit better than good, but Russell Wilson, yes, he is good. He is very good. And then he said Ben Roethlisberger is decent at best. Ben Roethlisberger is pretty good. Playing through injuries, things of that sort. Eli Manning said Odell makes him. Eli Manning's been around before Odell Beckham. He won 2 Super Bowls, which were 2 surprise runs, but he's been around since before Odell. Odell does make him look a little bit better now, but Odell is not what made Eli Manning. Blake Bortles, he said he does what he's got to do. That is his quarterback in Jacksonville, which he did do that. He had almost 100 yards rushing in a playoff game last year. I think Blake Bortles gets more of a bad rap than he deserves, but he has had some head scratching plays in the past. He said Nick Foles good enough to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, he beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots last year. Had the run of a lifetime with the Eagles and comes into this season expected to be the backup. Drew Brees, he said he's really good. Obviously, that Drew Brees, it speaks for itself. Andrew Luck, he said, don't think he's that good. He hasn't really been able to play Andrew Luck a whole lot. Andrew Luck's been hurt. So, but we'll see how good Andrew Luck is or where he's at this season. He has been very good in the past, obviously, but we'll see where he's at this year. He said Matthew Stafford, he's straight. So, which means he's good. He's okay. Matt Stafford, he's not awful, but he seems to get nicked up quite a bit. Still has more losses than wins, and is still one of the top two highest paid players. He's still one of the highest paid players in the entire league. But Stafford, he has been good. I'll give him that one. Ryan Tannehill, haven't heard good things. Tannehill's missed all of last year. He's had all right seasons. We'll see. We'll really see about Tannehill this year. And then he said Matt Ryan is overrated. I wouldn't say Matt Ryan's overrated. I think some people do get a little high on Matt Ryan, higher than they should. But he did win an MVP. Did help carry the Falcons to a Super Bowl, which they lost. But I agree and kind of disagree with Matt Ryan being overrated. But that's all for that one. Now I'm going to move into Ronald Acuna Jr. Still out here breaking records again yesterday. But this last night, he became the youngest player ever to hit a home run in 5 straight games. And it was only a day after accomplishing being the youngest or tying to be the youngest to hit 4 straight games. Hit a home run in 4 straight games, sorry. Not only was his 5th straight game with a homer, it was his 3rd straight game last night with a leadoff homer. First at bat for the Braves, he hit a home run for 3 straight games now. And then he ended up hit another home run last night in the 7th inning. It was a 3-run shot in a game that they eventually beat the Marlins 10-6. He now has 8 home runs in 8 games in his last 8 games. Last night he was 3 for 5. It was his first multi-home run game. And since moving to the leadoff spot in the Braves order, he is hitting .358 with 12 home runs, 25 runs scored, and 24 RBIs. But no, Acuna, it's just what he's doing at 20 years old. I know I talked about it yesterday, thinking maybe that's the end of it. No, he comes out, hits a leadoff home run again last night. A 5th straight game with a home run, and not only was it his 5th straight, he hit 2 last night. He's just on an absolute tear. 8 home runs in 8 games. Instant superstar? That's yet to be seen. I mean, he might have jumped up to the Rookie of the Year standings in the National League immediately. Right to the top last night. But what he's doing is amazing. You hope he can carry it on. Superstar in the making? We'd like to think so. That'd be fun to see. But that's yet to be seen. But now I would like to move on to the Dodgers and Giants fight from last night. But no, it started Yasiel Puig, as you'll see right there. He swatted his bat after fouling off a pitch. And then Giants catcher Nick Hundley, he said something to Puig, and obviously Puig didn't like it while he was still down in his catching crouch. And then Puig walked towards him. They stood face to face. And then Puig shoved him twice. And obviously the benches and the bullpens cleared. In the mayhem, Puig got away from his teammates and he ended up taking a swing at Hundley. Both players were ejected after the scrap that took place in the 7th inning, but that's just baseball stuff, chirping each other. Hundley said, "It's baseball. This guy, we're chasing that team down. They're kind of on a skid." So he might have been trying to say something to get in his head. Obviously, Puig didn't like it, so they got in each other's face. And both players ended up getting ejected. It's just baseball. People like to talk to each other, chirp them up, get under their skin. But that was pretty much it for that. They both ejected. I assume they'll probably both play tonight. But those are always fun to see, fights in baseball. It's been a while. I think that's actually the first fight that's taken place since I started doing this every day, which is kind of surprising. But always fun to see it get a little chippy, especially in a division rivalry. Just turns up the heat a little bit more in that rivalry. But we do have a couple games currently going on. By the time this video comes out, these games may be over. They'll obviously be further along. But right now in the bottom of the 6th, the Cubs lead the Brewers 7-2. They're returning the favor of yesterday after the Brewers beat them 7-0. The White Sox won today 6-5 over the Tigers. Another game, bottom of the 8th, the Twins are currently leading the Pirates 6-4. The Mariners and the Athletics are currently playing, and that is tied 0-0 in the top of the 4th. But that is all I have for today. We'll keep up with what happens with Ronald Acuna Jr. tonight, see what happens, see if he can carry on that amazing streak he's on. Dodgers and Giants, we'll see if they get into another scuffle tonight. Somebody decides to peg somebody, see if anything else happens with that. Any more football news, injuries, things like that, that's a daily thing here in the preseason. More preseason football coming up tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. So NASCAR is at Bristol this weekend. The trucks will race tomorrow night. The Xfinity Series, or I still call it the Busch Series, will race Friday night, and then the Cup Series will be on Saturday night. But if you did enjoy this, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It does mean a lot. But this has been Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I look forward to talking to you all again tomorrow.